Traffic is the worst. There's nothing like a little traffic to ruin your already terrible day. First, someone spilled coffee on your shirt and you couldn't change, otherwise you'd be late for work. Then you had to skip lunch because Flapdoodle Bumblethorpe needed help with his work. And then you got yelled at by your boss for helping him. Yeah, this day couldn't get any worse. You just want to go home and relax, and this stupid traffic is... What's that song? Is it seriously talking about going 90 miles per hour while I'm stuck here? It's so annoying. Well, I guess it is a bit funny. Wait, that lifted your mood a bit. And look, the traffic's moving. Yeah, life can be a drag sometimes. But if you find the small things that can make you laugh, it can make everything so much better. Here is How to Find Laughter Anywhere by Chris Duffy. My favorite part about working in an elementary school is that I can never predict what was going to happen next. Every day was a new, incredible day. There was never a boring moment. One time, I was teaching a class on human biology to my 5th grade students when one of them handed in this anonymous question card. What are balls for? Now, you know the part that gets me, that kills me, is that we had spent so long studying punctuation, and he still used a period instead of a question mark. What are balls for, period? At the same time that I was teaching elementary school students, I was teaching adult improv comedy at the local theater on the weekends. This was a group of retired folks, graduate students, and semi-successful business people who were paying money to spend their Saturdays in an unventilated basement with me. And most of the exercises we were doing were to get them to let go of the self-critical part of their brain, to let go of the fact that there was a right answer to find. And most of the exercises we were doing together were to get them to let go of the self-critical part of their brain. Let go of the fact that there was a right answer to find, and instead be more comfortable with their wild, idiosyncratic thoughts. Any elementary school teacher will tell you that getting kids to share their unexpected, honest thoughts, that's not something that you have to cultivate. They'll do that whether you want them to or not. I mean, here are some of the real questions that kids have asked me with no context during what was supposed to be a silent work time. Is it possible to make myself live longer so I can see the sun explode? Are pigs really prejudiced against women? Or is that just a saying? If my brother isn't married yet, why doesn't he marry my mom? And actually, that brings up a really good point, which is that kids' ideas, they're not always good. Actually, they can be very bad. Personally, I'm grateful that my mom isn't married to my brother. There's some research that suggests that 5th grade is a peak of this wildly free, uninhibited creative thinking. But that doesn't have to be the case. In my experience, the difference between people with an amazing sense of humor and those without is whether they are willing to accept or notice their honest reactions, or if they're trying to push it into a box. And that can shift over time. I saw that shift with my adult improv students. At first, we would do an exercise. We were asked to name 7 different things as quickly and creatively as possible. One guy, Rick, a corporate lawyer, answered the prompt, 7 types of shoes, by saying, brown shoes, white shoes, black shoes, gray shoes. It was a bunch of boring shoes, you get it. But then, after we practiced celebrating our more bizarre thoughts instead of repressing them, Rick came up with a list that included shoes covered in mud, shoes covered in gold, shoes covered in the blood of my enemies, which is like, whoa, that's a lot, Rick. It's a lot. But still, it's definitely more interesting, and I think that's the point. When we turn off the self-judgment and just notice things that stand out to us, we can stand out in ways that are hilarious and delightful. Every comedian that I know has a notebook or document where they write down all the odd little things that they see every day. And what you notice when you start keeping track is that there's no shortage of things to laugh at. And if you have a little bit of courage to allow yourself to get laughed at or to laugh at yourself, you can make discoveries that you never would have found out otherwise, right? If you want to know what balls are for, sometimes you gotta ask. I have found that you can find laughter in even the driest places if you bring some of that mischievous 5th grade energy to the instructions and what you're supposed to be doing, right? Now, I've had the most fun when I've applied these lessons that I learned from my 5th grade students to places I feel intimidated or that I don't necessarily belong in. For me personally, LinkedIn. Terrifying. I've never had a professional resume. I've never been comfortable with networking. But LinkedIn always fascinated me. Like, they let you make a profile and then they don't check if you work at the place you say you work. So I decided I was going to test it out and have a little fun. I made a profile on LinkedIn where I said I was the CEO of LinkedIn. Yeah. And I didn't even think they'd let me do that. But not only did they let me do that, one of the most incredible things that has ever happened in my life happened. They sent an email to everyone on my contact list. Congratulate Chris on the new job. Chris Duffy is now CEO of LinkedIn. That's a better joke than I could ever write in my entire life. I was the CEO of LinkedIn for a whole year, and at that 1 year mark, LinkedIn sent another email telling everyone in my contact list to congratulate me on my anniversary. And at that point, I received a message from a woman named Faith who worked on the trust and security team in LinkedIn. She said my account was being deactivated for concerns about its inaccuracy. So I sent her back a photo of my license, both front and back, to prove that, in fact, my name was Chris Duffy. Faith responded, "The thing that we're concerned about is not that you're Chris Duffy, it's that you're saying you're the CEO of LinkedIn." LinkedIn. So I responded, "Faith, you were taking a pretty disrespectful tone to someone you work for." 10 seconds later, they deactivated my account. It was a short but glorious stint running my own personal network. And now, what am I up to these days? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm the CEO of TED. Congratulate me. I know you want to. Thanks for coming to my performance.